Welcome back to the channel, folks, where we dive into the wild, wonderful world of men transforming into women in all kinds of fascinating ways. If that's your vibe, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Now let's jump right into today's story.
Chapter 2, Mirror, Mirror, What the Hell? The first thing Jake noticed when he woke up was the smell. Lavender. That wasn't right. His room usually smelled like cheap aftershave, worn socks, and the faint musk of hotel-grade loneliness, a scent he'd once described to Tommy as ode to bachelor desperation. But this morning, lavender, and something floral, jasmine maybe, with undertones of vanilla and amber. What the hell? He mumbled into his pillow, voice muffled and strangely melodic. The second thing he noticed was the weight on his chest. He blinked at the ceiling, consciousness slowly filtering through the fog of sleep. Something felt off. He felt off, lighter overall, yet heavier in specific places, smaller somehow, softer, and the sheets were these silk. His threadbare Target cotton sheets had apparently been replaced with something that felt like liquid luxury against his skin. Skin that felt different, smoother, more sensitive. He sat up. The world shifted. Two very round, very perky reasons bounced under the satin camisole he was inexplicably wearing. Jake, now very much not Jake, screamed. A high, musical, undeniably feminine scream echoed off the walls, ringing in his ears with a pitch he'd never been capable of before. What the hell? She gasped, clutching the sheets to her chest, staring down in horror. Her voice was like honey over ice, soft, sultry, dangerous. A voice made for whispering secrets and making promises. No, 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 she whispered, feeling the vibration in her throat, higher, tighter. She swallowed and felt the absence of an Adam's apple. With trembling hands, she reached up to touch her neck. Slender, delicate, she moved higher to her face, softer jawline, higher cheekbones, smaller nose, fuller lips. Her hands trailed down, hesitant, terrified, curious. Her collarbones were more pronounced, her shoulders narrower. And then, Jesus Christ, she yelped, yanking her hands away from her breasts as if they'd burned her. But not before registering their weight, their softness, the shocking sensitivity of her nipples even through the satin. She launched herself out of bed and staggered to the mirror above the dresser, nearly tripping over her own feet. Her center of gravity had shifted dramatically, her hips wider, her legs slimmer. And froze. Staring back at her was a stunning young woman with tousled chestnut hair that fell in loose waves past her shoulders. Full, pouty lips naturally tinted the color of ripe strawberries. Wide emerald eyes framed by thick, dark lashes that made them look even more dramatic. And curves, dear God, the curves, that could halt traffic in a blizzard. Her skin was porcelain smooth, without a hint of the stubble she was accustomed to battling every morning. Her cheekbones were sharp enough to cut glass, and her neck was long and elegant. She looked like a Vogue cover model who just had a very good night out, slightly disheveled in a way that only enhanced her beauty. Jake touched her cheek, the reflection touched back. This isn't happening, she whispered, watching those luscious lips form words that didn't sound like they belonged to her. This can't be happening. Her lips parted. No, 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 no. She ran her hands through her hair, feeling its silky texture, so different from her former short, coarse locks. The movement caused her breasts to jiggle slightly under the camisole, drawing her eyes downward again. Holy shit, she breathed. There, perfect. She immediately slapped her own face. Focus, Monroe, you're having a crisis here. She spun around, looking for clothes, Jake's clothes, but the room wasn't hers. It wasn't the cramped studio apartment with the leaky faucet and the neighbor who practiced saxophone at 3 a.m. This room was fancier, cozier, like a suite she didn't remember falling asleep in. The bed was king-sized, with a mountain of pillows and a duvet that probably cost more than Jake's monthly rent. The furniture was elegant mahogany, the curtains thick and luxurious. A crystal chandelier hung from the ceiling, casting warm light across the room. I've been kidnapped, she muttered. Kidnapped and surgically altered, drugged. Is this some kind of weird simulation? On a nearby chair sat a note, written in elegant cursive on thick, cream-colored paper. Sometimes the right reflection shows a side you never knew you needed. Relax, darling, you're in excellent hands. A.B. Jake's, or rather Jackie's, eyes narrowed. Mrs. Bellamy. The mirror, the trunk, the jolt, it all came flooding back. That witchy old bat turned me into a woman, she exclaimed, her voice rising to a pitch that made the crystal glasses on the minibar vibrate slightly. She stormed, well, sashayed. Her hips had a mind of their own into the bathroom and stared again at her reflection in the full-length mirror. Everything was real. The soft swell of her breasts, at least a C-cup, maybe a D, perfectly proportioned to her frame. The curve of her waist, dramatically nipping in before flaring out to hips that suggested both fertility and sin in equal measure. Her stomach was flat with just a hint of definition, not the six-pack Jake had been half-heartedly working on, but a feminine softness that looked like it belonged on a yoga instructor. Her thighs were shapely, her calves elegant, her ankles dainty. Her hands were small, her fingers long and slender, her nails perfectly manicured in a subtle blush pink. She ran one hand down her side and shivered. Every nerve felt alive, hyper-responsive, as if her skin had doubled its sensitivity overnight. "Oh God, I'm hot," she whispered, then immediately slapped herself again. No time for narcissism. I'm cursed, or hexed, or drugged, or dreaming. Yes, dreaming. She pinched her arm, hard. Ow. Nope, not dreaming. She turned around, trying to see herself from all angles. Her back was smooth and elegant, leading down to a heart-shaped bottom that the satin sleep shorts did very little to conceal. "That is a serious ass," she murmured, unable to stop herself from admiring the view. Jake had always been an ass man, and now she had one that would have made him stop and stare in his previous life. She faced the mirror again, taking in the complete picture. "Okay, Monroe, don't panic. You've been turned into a woman, a ridiculously hot woman, by a possibly magical old lady who lives in a hotel. This is fine. This is totally fine." She turned on the sink and splashed cold water on her face, hoping it might somehow reset reality. It didn't. It just made her realize her eyelashes were naturally long and curled, her eyebrows perfectly arched, and her skin glowing without a hint of the stubble shadow she was used to seeing. "Right," she said, gripping the edge of the sink. "Step 1, get dressed. Step 2, find Mrs. Bellamy. Step 3, threaten to, I don't know, report her to the magical authorities or something." She looked down at herself again. Step 1 is going to be a challenge. The next hour was a chaotic mess of wardrobe malfunctions, accidental moaning, and one unfortunate incident involving a pair of lacy panties and a high heel that flew across the room. "How do women do this every day?" she grumbled, wrestling with a bra clasp. "This is like trying to disarm a bomb while juggling bowling balls." The sensation of the satin and lace against her newly sensitive skin was overwhelming. Every brush of fabric sent tingles racing across her nerve endings. The weight of her breasts in the cups of the bra, the snug fit of the panties against parts of her anatomy that were decidedly different, it was all too much. "Stop getting turned on by yourself," she hissed at her reflection. "That's weird and narcissistic and, oh God, that feels good." She'd accidentally brushed her hand against the side of her breast and nearly collapsed from the sensation. The sensitivity was off the charts. "This is torture," she moaned. "Beautiful, confusing torture." Eventually, Jackie managed to dress herself in a soft blue blouse and a pencil skirt from the closet, clothes that fit perfectly and, alarmingly, made her ass look amazing. She stared at herself in the mirror, hardly recognizing the sophisticated, sexy woman who stared back. "Well, if I'm stuck like this, at least I look like I could be on the cover of GQ," she muttered. "Wait, no, not GQ. What's the woman one? Cosmo, Vogue, whatever." She attempted to walk in the heels, sleek black pumps that added 3 inches to her height, and wobbled like a newborn giraffe. "How the hell does Charlie walk in these all day?" she grumbled, thinking of Charlie Harrington's impressive collection of killer heels. "It's like balancing on pencils." After a few laps around the room, she managed a somewhat steady gait. Not graceful exactly, but at least she wouldn't face-plant in the lobby. "All right, Monroe," she said to her reflection, "time to face the music." She squared her shoulders, took a deep breath, which had the interesting effect of pushing her chest out even further, and opened the suite door to find a tray of breakfast waiting. Eggs, toast, coffee, and of course, lavender tea. There was another note: fuel for your journey, you'll need your strength. AB. Journey, Jackie scoffed. The only journey I'm taking is down to your room to demand you turn me back, you magical menace. She took the coffee and chugged it like whiskey. At least coffee still tastes the same, she muttered, grateful for this one constant in her upended world. She glanced at the eggs, realized she was starving, and devoured them in a most unladylike manner, dropping crumbs down her cleavage. Damn it, she cursed, fishing them out with her fingers. Is this what women deal with all the time? Boob crumbs. After finishing breakfast and checking her appearance one last time, still a knockout, still not Jake, she steeled herself and headed for the elevator. Meanwhile, downstairs in the hotel lobby, Charlie was already halfway through her third espresso and barking orders at a nervous intern. Her honey blonde hair was pulled back in its usual severe bun, but stress had caused several strands to escape, framing her face in a way that softened her sharp features. No, Tyler, the Hendersons need the Magnolia Suite, not the Azalea Suite. Mrs. Henderson is allergic to the particular detergent used in the Azalea linens. This was all in the file I gave you yesterday. The intern Tyler nodded vigorously, his Adam's apple bobbing like a buoy in a storm. Yes, Ms. Harrington, I'll fix it right away. See that you do, Charlie replied, turning her attention back to the stack of schedules on her clipboard. And where is Jake? He's 15 minutes late for his shift. No one had an answer for her. The elevator dinged. Jackie stepped out. Heads turned. Men paused mid-conversation. A woman spilled her mimosa. The bellhop dropping off luggage nearly ran into a pillar. Even the concierge looked up from his crossword. Charlie looked up and stopped breathing for a beat. There was something instantly captivating about the woman walking toward her. The confident sway of her hips, slightly exaggerated, as if she was still getting used to them. The mischievous glint in those emerald eyes, and a smirk that seemed far too familiar for a complete stranger. Good morning, Jackie said smoothly, reaching the front desk and leaning against it slightly. She'd practiced that line in the elevator, trying to get used to her new voice. It still felt strange, like speaking through someone else's vocal cords. Charlie blinked. You're new. New is one word for it, Jackie muttered, then cleared her throat. I mean, yes, brand new, fresh off the woman, factory, conveyor belt. Charlie's perfectly shaped eyebrow rose a fraction of an inch. I see, and you are. Jackie hesitated for one heartbeat too long, realizing she needed a name. Jake was clearly not going to cut it. Jackie, she blurted out. Jackie Monroe, I'm temping Bellhop, fill-in. Charlie frowned, her amber eyes narrowing slightly. Monroe, any relation to Jake Monroe? Jackie smiled sweetly, heart pounding. You could say I'm very close to him. Charlie hummed, her eyes scanning Jackie from head to toe in a way that made Jackie both uncomfortable and strangely thrilled. Interesting. We weren't notified about any temp staff. Last-minute arrangement, Jackie improvised. Very last minute, like quantum physics last minute, string theory, you know how it is. Charlie raised a brow. No, I don't know how it is, Ms. Monroe. We were expecting Jake today. Where is he? Jackie leaned on the counter, trying to look casual but misjudging the height and nearly stumbling. She recovered with what she hoped was a seductive adjustment of posture. Oh, he's taking some time. Needed a little self-reflection. Charlie gave a slow nod, eyes narrowing, but before she could press the issue, Tommy, Jake's best friend and the hotel's head of maintenance, appeared with a bucket of tools and a donut in his mouth. His overalls were stained with what might have been coffee or possibly motor oil, and his sandy hair stuck up in unruly tufts. He stopped mid-bite, the donut hanging precariously from his lower lip. He stared. His eyes widened to the size of the donut hole as recognition dawned. Jake, he mouthed silently, donut finally falling from his slack jaw. Jackie gave a tiny nod and widened her eyes like don't you dare. Tommy dropped the donut, watching it roll across the marble floor like it was in slow motion. Charlie turned. You okay, Tommy? Tommy cleared his throat, his eyes still fixed on Jackie with a mixture of shock, confusion, and unmistakable appreciation. Fine, just, slipped a nut. Jackie smirked. That makes two of us. Charlie blinked. Excuse me. Nothing, Jackie chirped, voice jumping an octave. Just excited to start my shift. Love shifts. Big fan of working and shifts. Charlie's expression suggested she was dealing with either a lunatic or an extremely nervous new employee. Possibly both. Right, she said slowly. Well, since you're filling in for Jake, you'll need to cover his usual duties. Morning luggage runs, afternoon check-ins, evening turn-down service for the VIP suites. Jackie nodded enthusiastically. Sounds great. I can definitely handle Jake's duties. She wiggled her eyebrows suggestively, then immediately regretted it when Charlie's expression cooled by several degrees. Ms. Monroe, Charlie said crisply, at the Grand Marlowe, we maintain a certain level of professionalism. Please try to remember that. Jackie felt her cheeks heat up, another new sensation, the blush spreading across her face and down her neck. Of course, sorry, new job jitters. Charlie seemed unconvinced but handed over a name tag nonetheless. You can use this temporary badge. I'll have HR process your paperwork later. Tommy will show you around. Great, Jackie said, pinning the badge to her blouse and accidentally jabbing her finger in the process. Ow, sharp. Tommy finally recovered enough to step forward. Come on, Jackie, let me show you the, maintenance corridors, very important for a bellhop to know. Charlie watched them go, her gaze lingering on Jackie's retreating figure with a mixture of suspicion and something harder to define. Back in the maintenance corridor, Tommy cornered her, his face a comical mix of shock and awe. You're Jake. Jackie looked around frantically, checking for eavesdroppers. Keep it down, you idiot. But you're, Tommy gestured wildly at her entire body, words apparently failing him. A woman, yeah, I noticed, Jackie hissed. Stop staring at me like I'm an exhibit at the zoo. He stared. Did you have boobs, really nice ones? Jackie crossed her arms over her chest defensively, then immediately uncrossed them when the pressure created an even more pronounced cleavage. Don't make me slap you. I think I've got enough hip torque now to knock your head off. Tommy leaned against the wall, running a hand through his messy hair as he struggled to process the situation. Okay, back up. What happened? Did you fall into a vat of estrogen? Did Mrs. Bellamy slip you some kind of sexy potion? Are you sure you're not just Jake's secret hot cousin who's been hiding in Canada until now? Jackie sighed, the sound dramatically more feminine than her old exasperated exhales. I touched the damn mirror in her trunk. There was a jolt, I blacked out, and now I'm this. She gestured down at her transformed body. Tommy whistled low. You are very much this. I know, Jackie exclaimed. I have breasts and hips and a. She lowered her voice to a scandalized whisper, vagina. Tommy's eyebrows shot up. You checked. Jackie slapped his arm, surprised by how much it stung her hand. Of course I checked. I woke up in a completely different body. Wouldn't you investigate if you suddenly sprouted lady parts? Fair point, Tommy conceded. So what did it feel like? The transformation, I mean. Jackie leaned against the wall, trying to articulate the experience. It was like being unmade and remade, like every cell in my body was rearranged. My bones feel lighter. My skin feels different, softer, more sensitive. And everything jiggled during the walk from the elevator to the desk. Everything. Tommy grinned. I noticed. Jackie glared. Focus, perv. He chuckled. Fine, so what's the plan? Are you going to tell Charlie? Tell Charlie? Are you insane? Hey boss, remember me, your marginally competent bellhop. Well, I touched a magic mirror and now I'm a smoking hot babe with legs for days. Can I still have Tuesday off? Jackie shook her head vigorously, causing her chestnut locks to swish around her face. She'd have me committed. She might believe you, Tommy suggested. Charlie's always had a thing for the weird and unexplained. Remember when she insisted that the ghostly weeping in room 237 was real and not just the ancient plumbing? Jackie considered this. That's different. Besides, I need to fix this before anyone else finds out. I can't live as a woman. I don't know the first thing about all this. She gestured to her body again. Tommy smirked. I don't know. You seem to be rocking those heels pretty well for a beginner. I nearly broke my ankle 3 times on the way down, Jackie admitted. How do women do this every day? It's like trying to walk on stilts while balancing a bowling ball on your chest. He looked down at said chest and quickly back up when Jackie cleared her throat pointedly. So what's the plan? He asked. Jackie looked down at her curves, then up at the chaos of the hotel. Survive the day, figure out what Bellamy did, and try not to blow my cover or my bra. Tommy grinned. This is gonna be so fun. Jackie groaned, God help me. Look on the bright side, Tommy said, slinging an arm around her shoulders, which felt smaller and more fragile under his touch. At least you're hot. Imagine if Bellamy had turned you into an ugly woman. Jackie shrugged off his arm, not helping Tommy. Seriously though, he said, his tone shifting to something closer to genuine concern. Are you okay? This is pretty messed up. Jackie paused, considering the question. Was she okay? She'd woken up in a completely different body with completely different everything. She should be panicking, screaming, demanding justice. But underneath the shock and confusion, there was something else. A curiosity, a strange, unexpected thrill. I don't know, she admitted. It's terrifying and bizarre and completely insane, but also. Also, Tommy prompted. Jackie shook her head. Never mind. Let's just focus on finding Mrs. Bellamy and getting some answers. Tommy nodded. All right, Operation Hot Swap is a go. We are not calling it that, Jackie insisted, but she couldn't suppress a smile. Too late, already named it, Tommy replied with a grin. Now, let's go find your magical sugar mama. Jackie punched his arm, surprised again by how much less force she could generate. She's not my sugar mama. She put you in a suite and left you breakfast, Tommy pointed out. That's pretty sugar mama-ish. Jackie rolled her eyes, another gesture that felt different in her new body, somehow more dramatic. Fine, let's go find the witch who turned me into arm candy. They headed back toward the lobby, Jackie still wobbly on her heels, but gaining confidence with each step. By the way, Tommy whispered, you might want to tone down the swagger. Real women don't walk like they're trying to dislocate their hips. Thanks for the tip, Jackie muttered, trying to adjust her gait. Any other female wisdom you'd like to share? Yeah, Tommy said with a smirk. Charlie couldn't take her eyes off you. Jackie nearly tripped. What? No, she was suspicious, not interested. Tommy waggled his eyebrows. Potato, maybe this is your chance to finally get her attention. As a woman, Jackie hissed, how does that help me? I don't know, Tommy replied with a shrug, but it's definitely going to be entertaining to watch. Somewhere in her suite, Mrs. Bellamy sipped her tea and smiled. The canary on her hairpin chirped once, as if sharing a private joke. Patience, little one, she murmured. The real fun is just beginning.